These DC truckers have showed up and they're still circling the Beltway, as far as I know, at least it's Wednesday. And they're still looking for something to complain about, or they're still looking to get someone to listen to what they're complaining about. Enter a couple of widely hated Republican senators, Ted Cruz and Ron Johnson. They gave them the attention that they were looking for. They sat them in front of a bunch of reporters and let them rant and rave. But first, Ted Cruz says, me first, me first. You guys forgot why I even came here. I want to talk about me and lie. Watch this.
Every week, I fly back and forth to Houston. Almost without exception, every time I'm on an airplane, either the captain or a flight attendant will come up to me, will hug me and say, thank you for fighting for us. Because I'll tell you, United Airlines, sadly, Houston's a hub of them, has fired thousands of pilots and flight attendants.
Come on, bro. Nuh-uh. No, you didn't. So Ted Cruz says nearly every time I fly from Houston to DC, I fly all the time. Every time, flight attendants, pilots, they can't wait to hug me and say, thank you very much. First of all, Rayvon, BS on that. You know why? Because if these flight attendants and pilots who are trying to get you to fight for them for vaccine, against vaccine mandates or masking or any of these things that you say that they're upset about, those particular employees already left because there was mandates from their employer. So why would they still be there while you're flying to thank you for fighting for them? If they follow the rules, they've already been vaccinated or they're already wearing masks. That's BS.
Yeah, also just the idea that anyone would voluntarily hug Ted Cruz. I'm not buying that. Also, I'm sorry, we should have done a trigger warning before showing Ted Cruz to all the viewers. But I mean, like, his own kids don't want to hug him. I don't think strangers are coming up and giving him, hugs unprompted.
Had to bring up the kids. Now, by the way, don't forget, Ron Johnson was there as well. And Ron Johnson wants to get in on this. Hey, you guys, people come crying to me too. Watch.
What is more powerful is the American people rising up and speaking out. So what y'all are doing is incredibly important.
Thank you for your time.
By the way, I'm seeing the same thing in Wisconsin. People coming up to me with tears in their eyes. Those that are awakened.
Yeah, me too. Sure, yeah, I know. People come to me, tears in their eyes. They're like, Ron, you're our only hope. Oh my God, Ron, I can't wait. They don't know what Ron Johnson's doing. Ron Johnson's going on clown around getting this kind of attention. That's what Ron Johnson is doing.
Honestly, I think that most people in Wisconsin wouldn't even know Ron Johnson just by seeing him. I think that very few people would recognize him. I have lots of family in Wisconsin. I'd give them all $1 million if one of them could pick Ron Johnson out of a lineup of just other generic white older men.
And 2 million if they drop to their knees and thank him and have tears in their eyes. Man, these guys have a weird hero complex. They destroy people's lives or attempt to as many times as possible, then claim those same people love them to the point where tone it down a little bit. Like if you're gonna lie, tone it down just like a couple of notches. Bring it down, be like, yeah, this woman came to me. She was like, thank you so much. Just say that. Stop talking about the tears in her eyes. And oh my God, they were like, oh, changed my life, Ron. So this also bled into some of the truckers. One of the organizers was talking about this, and one of the other truckers that was at this particular thing, they talked about how many people are coming around, and they brought their best The Rock impressions because there was millions and millions of people supporting them. Watch.
We've had a movement like no other, like no presidential candidate, like no senator, like no congressman, like no governor coming across this country. We've had millions and millions of people. There hasn't been a handful of bridges. I haven't seen somebody. They're coming out of the woods on their four-wheelers. And when you're driving under these overpasses and you look up at the people's faces, and millions. Yeah, it was tens of thousands, and it turned to hundreds of thousands, and I went into the millions. And I've never seen a presidential candidate or at any level have what we just had. And I think that speaks volumes.
They're crying.
Yep.
You can see
we've already won because we've opened their hearts. And once their hearts are open, they can't be closed.
And the American people have had enough, and that shows by the millions of Americans that have stood along the highways and across the overpasses from Adelanto, California to Hagerstown, Maryland. Yep. They're out of touch with who the American people are, and many of the politicians that refuse to understand where we're coming from or don't want to meet with us. I encourage every truck driver around the world right now, stand up.
That's it.
The people around the world, stand up. This isn't just an American issue. This is a global issue.
Man, the centering of the way Americans do this all the time. This is a global issue. You guys should be protesting vaccines. There's parts of the world that were fighting to get to the vaccine, but he doesn't care about that. He doesn't pay attention to anyone else. It's all about us, truckers. Everywhere in the world is like praising us, truckers. Nobody cares about your truck or your political views. As at one point throughout this 42 minutes of them talking to reporters, he was talking about how, this isn't a political issue. This isn't partisanship, as they bash on Democrats for the entire time. So spare me all that. It's a lack of understanding of what the rest of the world is going through, and also what the rest of America is going through. He thinks only people who think like him are real Americans. That's just the way Republicans talk.
What are you concerned about right now?
I don't want them to digitize us.
You don't want them what?
To digitize us. I don't want to take medicine that'll hurt people.
What was the word you used though? I haven't heard that.
Digitile.
Digitile? And what does that mean?
They're trying to make us robots. They're trying to make it where we have no choice and nothing, to where they can control us from what they put in our bodies.
And eventually we'll actually be robots?
According to what they're saying, not robots, but according to what they've already got a full man-made working female robot.
I just really love the idea that there's just millions of Americans like corralled onto overpasses, cheering and sobbing and like throwing flowers onto the trucks as they like millions. You probably couldn't pay most Americans to sign a change.org petition from their couch in their pajamas on their phone, let alone trek outside in the middle of winter to go, I don't know, say hooray as some trucks go past. This is ridiculous.
Well, that's where you're wrong, because Republicans bring out that kind of energy. No one's ever had a movement like this, as he said.